perfection. Let's get clear on what this is. Okay, trying to be perfect. Because some of you cringed, and you're probably not the perfectionist. And you perfectionists out there just leaned in and were like, oh yeah, tell me more about that. Now, I'm a recovering perfectionist. Why do I say perfectionist? Recovering perfectionist? Because, well, to explain that, let's get clear on what perfectionism really is. See, perfectionism is trying to do better than your best. And I don't know how you're going to pull that off, but that does sound like a setup for failure. If you have to do better than you're capable of doing, then aren't you setting yourself up to be disappointed, to fail? Nothing would ever be good enough for you if your idea of perfect is better than your best. That's what perfectionism is. And so if you knock that off, maybe you have a chance at actually doing the absolute best that you possibly can. Okay? You don't need to sit there and to be perfect. You wouldn't want to, even if you could. Think of it like, even if you, like, you would have to be perfect, you'd have to be better than your best. You'd have to never fail, never err. And in that, you never learned, you never grew. Some of the best things come out of the worst scenarios. It's the good and the bad. There's always something really good that comes out of a terrible scenario. You would never have that if you just had perfect. You wouldn't be driven if you never had an error. If you never had a failure, you wouldn't just drive yourself to be more than you possibly are. Perfect is a delusional idea. You're not going to be perfect because you're not going to do better than your best. It's a setup for failure. You can have a scenario where you're like, no, I got an A+, but man, I didn't get the bonus question, so I didn't get the extra credit. Way to go. You weren't perfect. Okay. You weren't, don't do this to yourself. Don't try to be better than your best. Get clear on what perfectionism is. Perfectionism is a way of you trying to do better than your best, and in so, you set yourself up for failure, and then you end up failing no matter how well you did succeed. No matter how much you succeeded at the thing that you were going for, it would never be enough because it wasn't perfect, because you are a perfectionist. Whereas, if you put that perfectionism bullshit down, you can start doing the absolute best that you possibly can. And in that, maybe you accomplish the thing that you actually set out to do.